All right, YouTube. It has been a while, a good long while, but I am back to unbox some toys. The reason for my unboxing absence was this summer, as you may have seen with my pool comments and video and stuff, we are closing the pool for good in the spring. It's getting filled in. They've already closed it for the season, so I've had my last swim in the pool. So this summer, I was really concentrating on the weekends of just being outside, being in the pool as much as I possibly could to just soak in that last summer. So I thought, you know what? Once the pool's closed, I'm gonna have lots more time on the weekends and really on the weeknights too, because I spend an hour or two out back when I first get home from work out there. So a lot more time. So I'll just save all these toy unboxing videos until the pool is closed, and then I can just blitz you with a whole bunch of useless bullshit, and you'll be all the richer for it. Now, today's unboxing is not a Transformer, which most of my toy unboxings are, but I do have some that are outside of the Transformers realm, and today's is indeed outside of that realm. However, in spirit, it is kind of close in some ways. So, back in 1985, a show came on the air that absolutely took my imagination away and really drew me in. There was a lot of shows back then that did that. The 80s were ripe with amazing cartoons. You had Transformers, G.I. Joe, Voltron, Mask, and a plethora more of them. This one, however, was a little bit different. And before we get anywhere or any further into it, I will just show you what it is. I have with me right now a sealed Veritech fighter from the cartoon Robotech. So Robotech debuted in 1985 and ran for, I believe, about 85 episodes. 85 for 85, right? The story, I guess, I didn't know this at the time when I was a kid, or even up until I started researching things for this video. It was pieced together from three pre-existing Japanese cartoons that they kind of all made into one big long story arc and dubbed Robotech for North American audiences. So it kind of follows this theme. So what happens to start the series off is there is a spaceship crash lands on some South Pacific island, and humanity investigates this shipwreck, and from it, it's like some sort of alien craft. So they gain all sorts of technological advances, and they also find this substance called protoculture, which is a really futuristic and crazy type of energy source. So it becomes really valuable. Now, the technology they find in this crashed ship, they end up using as robot technology to further mostly militaristic things, thus the term Robotech, robot technology. And there's lots of cool vehicles and ships and stuff in Robotech, but this one's my favorite. This is called a Veritech fighter, and it has the ability, it's like I can't remember if it's an F-15 or an F-16, but it looks like one of those like 1980s kind of fighter jets, and it can transform into two different modes. One, a full robot mode that the pilots from inside the robot, and then another one that's kind of in between. It's a halfway mode where the front of the plane, like the nose cone and the fuselage right behind it, stay the same, but the arms and the legs drop down from the back of the plane under it. So it's kind of like a half transformed kind of robot. So it's still very much recognizable as a plane, but also kind of a robot. So it has these two different modes, and it was one of the feature pieces of technology in this robot war. So now the story of Robotech, like I said, it's pieced together from these three different stories. So basically, this 85 episode cartoon is divided up into kind of three phases, and they're all different wars. So the first war, they fight against an alien race called the Zentradi, who are, you know, kind of bigger than humans, and they have different colored skin. Like I think there's a lot of green skin ones, and I think there might be some purple as well. So they're very different looking than humans are. And after that, the second war is against a race called the Robotech Masters, I believe is what they're called. And then in the third one, it's a race of aliens called the Invid. So, but basically all these wars are fought over protoculture and the ability to manufacture it and collect it and gain it, because like I said, it's such a valuable energy source. So that's kind of the story of Robotech in a very broad kind of nutshell. Now, what I really liked about this cartoon is the storytelling in it. It is the only cartoon from that age that I thought was like a space opera. It was this ongoing saga where from episode to episode, it was just this overarching storyline that just pieced together so perfectly. Now, shows like Transformers and G.I. Joe, they also have an overarching storyline where the Joes want to defeat Cobra, the Autobots want to defeat the Decepticons and save Earth and get back to Cybertron and stuff. But any episode almost, other than the miniseries and stuff like that from those types of shows, can all be standalone episodes where they're not really linked to the ones on either end of it, right? Even though the overarching storyline is happening, each episode is kind of individualistic in a lot of cases. Now for Robotech, I found from episode to episode, you kind of had to know what went on in the last episode. So I thought of all the 80s cartoons that I love, even though Transformers and G.I. Joe are my favorite, bar none, I thought Robotech did the best job of kind of the storytelling aspect of it. So if you've never watched Robotech and you love 80s cartoons, it is a no doubter. It is so good that that you can't lose. It is a great investment of your time. So I'm going to show you a brief clip of just the opening sequence from Robotech, so you can just get a feel for the music and how it was animated, and a lot of the characters and technology feature into that opening sequence. So as I've said many times before, let the cameras roll. So that gives you a bit of a gist of how the show looked and sounded and whatnot. Now, the two main Veritech fighter pilots in the series is a young kid named Rick Hunter, and kind of what becomes his mentor, a guy named Roy Fokker. Now, I don't think this is Roy's fighter because his is black, has black and yellow trimming and stuff like that, and I don't think this is his. So maybe it's not Rick's either. I don't know if it's anybody specific or just a general one, but let's get it out of the package and see what it looks like, and then we'll also get it transformed into its, I'm not sure which mode it comes in off the hop, but whatever one it is, we will try to get it into its other 2 modes so we can have a look at all 3 incarnations of the Veritech Fighter, and then we will wrap this thing up. Alrighty, so the Veritech Fighter, and I think you may also have a view of the Fat Cat in the background, so maybe she'll help entertain you during this sequence as well. Looks like she's just having a bath. Just having a bath, Fuzz? Hey? What are you doing? So it comes in full plane mode. Looks like we got a baggie with some extra hands and some pieces, air intakes and whatever the hell those are. Maybe some cockpit pieces. That looks like a seat maybe. Looks like it's got some options if felt they are needed. Now, looks like it's also got a lot of, guns, sorry. Oh, missile launchers look pretty cool. They're actually sitting in there. So it's got the one gun, unless it's got one attached to it already. Looks like it's got 4 missile launchers. It's got these other sets of missiles. Looks like there are 4 of them as well. These look like they're maybe supposed to be the hands that go in by default. And then I'm not sure what these pieces are here, but they gotta be for something. And then we have a little pilot. Now looking at the colors on him, I don't think it's Roy or Rick, so probably, like I said, just a generic kind of Veritech Fighter. So here she is. Beautiful, beautiful. Looks like this has popped out. There we go. And it looks like the head is down here. Looks like it's supposed to maybe tuck in there and it popped off, but yeah. Either way, there she is. Good looking toy. Not very heavy, pretty light, but it's got a bit of weight to it. So we will, I'm just noticing that there's no instructions. Well, that just put a wrinkle in this video, didn't it? Let's just flesh this out. I'm not going to do time lapse because we don't really know what we're doing. Looks like we got some landing gear here. Yeah. Probably landing gear here as well. Yep. Okay, so we don't need that right now. So I'm going to guess that the first step in transforming in either direction is going to be somehow, that's got to be the arms there, getting these legs down, but I'm really nervous about pushing too hard here. You know what I mean? Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's a leg down and a leg down. This got complicated, eh, Fuzz? No instructions? What are they doing to us here? Now these, I'm gonna guess, can go like that, because they're usually on the outside. Okay. Fist has got to be inside there somewhere. Oh yeah, there she is. Huh, that's interesting. These fists are tiny. And then these fists are huge, right? Like, look at the size difference. So that's curious. Yeah, and the wings probably go back in this mode, I would guess. I can't remember exactly. Maybe they don't, but... Maybe they do stay out, I can't remember. But there's basically kind of, you know, what it looks like when it's in the kind of half mode or whatever, right? The arms hang down, legs are down, but the rest of the jet is pretty much the way it normally is. I don't remember if this goes up or down or whatever. So these aren't official transformations. Without the instructions, I can't really be sure on what the hell is what. But I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here in a way. I feel like this should come up, but I don't want to force it because it's not feeling great. But like, how do we do the actual robot part? I'm guessing that comes down kind of like the Seekers. No, that's stuck in there. Huh. It comes up. There's a joint in there, but I don't know. Oh. Okay, you got a bit of movement there. Oh, there we go. Okay. Ooh, that was a big step. So the legs are free. Now those have to stay out. Why doesn't that want to come down? Hmm. Okay, that's on a little track. That should slide up. Oh, shit. Did that break something? I don't think so. Okay. Trying to get a look at something here. I can't believe it didn't come with any instructions. It's ridiculous. Okay, like I've got it somewhat close, you know, I think. Those tuck back in there. He's got his rocket boosters back here, right? I just feel like there's too much exposed in here. Like this should come down harder on it and really kind of. And then there's this thing here that's got its skull and crossbones on it that I feel like should be showing, right? Like somewhere, but oh, it does slide down. Okay, come on. There it goes. Okay, there we go. There. Man, I feel like this should just be a lot tighter in here, you know? But maybe not. You know, maybe that's it. He's got his UN Spacey blaster. And of course, don't forget that sick ass head. Oh, it's so sick. It's a pretty cool character. I just wish I knew if that was the absolute correct transformation, but either way, it's pretty awesome, and I can store him in jet mode if I'm not completely happy with did I get this right or not. So, yeah, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Okay, so what'd you think of that little journey we went on? That was a little unusual. I thought for sure I'd be flipping over to time-lapse mode and taking you through a real quick kind of display of the steps. But yeah, with no instructions, I was kind of like even considering, do we even try this transformation? But I really wanted to keep him on the shelf in robot mode. So I was like, well, we'll give it a try. And you know what? It wasn't that bad to figure out. This is actually a relatively easy toy to transform. And I really like it. Some of the points that I really like is, as I said, the easy transformation is very much appreciated. It's got some little details, especially in terms of lights, like his on the head. There's a nice green kind of clear green piece that catches the light and makes it look kind of cool. Up here too, there's a couple of orange pieces like warning lights or something like that. And then down on the leg, in plane mode, these can come down, but red and blue lights, you know, for signaling and stuff like that, right? I thought that was kind of cool. The landing gear is probably my favorite little feature. When they come out, they look really cool. It's got actual rubber tires on them, and the rims have the little, you know, dots in them. Very good detail on the landing gear. And overall, it seems like a fairly solidly built toy. There's a couple of areas where the plastic's a little light, and I thought, ooh, I don't want to transform that too much. But overall, it feels pretty solid. Now, there's not a lot of metal in it, unfortunately, just a little bit inside on some of the bars, the bigger bars that need to rotate and swivel back and forth during the transformations. But for the most part, it's pretty lightweight plastic. But despite that, it's still a relatively solid figure, I feel. So yeah, that was it for the downsides. Just a little bit of light plastic here and there. Of course, the biggest downside is that it didn't come with instructions, so I'm not even sure if that is correct for robot mode, and I'm not even sure if the half transform mode was correct either, but either way, I think I got them close enough that we can get a good feel for what this toy is supposed to look like anyways. And the only other downside to the instructions not being in this toy is that it came with all of those extra parts. Now, not the missiles and the guns and stuff like that, and the pilot, obviously, we know where those goes. We know where those go. It's the weird little gray parts that I was like looking at them going, what the fuck does that do, right? So it would have been cool to just kind of see, you know, what those are used for and what else this thing can do. But unless I go online and can find something, which at this point, since I've already transformed it and this video is already posted, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm not curious enough to put in that much effort. So, but it would have been neat to see what those things are supposed to do. Maybe they attach, maybe they attach in back of here and help this thing look and feel complete. Let me just have a look. I'm gonna mess around with them after I finish this little sequence, and if I do figure something out, and this does look different in robot mode, I'll post one more picture at the very end of this video to show you what it looks like. If I can't figure it out, if that's not what they're for, then this is the end. Hope you enjoyed it. Next week, I have a choice to make for next week. Whether I get back into Transformers or do one of two alternate things. So I think next week's subject is going to be almost as much as it is a surprise for me as it will be for you. So, but anyways, stay tuned because it is going to be coming. Toodles.
Meow.